We'll go from there.
All right, so we're live. I think we're live. Dear God in heaven, please, someone tell me if we're live. Anybody?
We're live. I can tell you right now. I'm watching right now.
Okay, you can see it in here. All right, where did it go? My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton-Sehon with Swiftfire TV. We're so happy. I can't believe this. This has been like hours of me trying different stream things, and I hate to like try to do anything new, but I wanted to go live so bad, and all these people were talking about this streaming thing and that streaming thing. And anyway, all that being said, we have Jason Q here with us tonight. That's so cool. All the way from your Indiana or Illinois, one of the I's.
Indiana.
Indiana. You had to think about it.
It was just because I see it on two screens and it's like stopped up there, and there's a delay. There definitely is a delay though. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
It's like a 5-second delay or something.
Okay. Well, I took one off, so I won't be looking at two different things here. But so before we get started, let me turn this off. Before we get started, so I have been following you over with Jason Dean. I just recently found Jason Dean. I think maybe the first time I ever saw him, you were on. I was in Florida, and I think it was your first time, and I was just like
terrible.
No, I was blown away. I was just like, oh my God, this guy. And I don't meet a lot of people who talk code and numbers and data. And so when you were on the scene, and I was just couldn't stop. I was like, anytime you come back, I have to keep watching, and just wanted to hear anything that you had. Tell me a little bit, because I heard a little bit about how you got into this and what it is that you're into, what we're into, and a little bit about yourself, just to start, because my audience, when I said that you were coming, I had a few people who were like, oh my God, I've been following him, and I followed Jason Dean. And then I had a lot of people who were like, who is that? So it's a big mix. But one of my biggest goals out of doing this meeting tonight, and then Jason's actually interviewing me tomorrow, and I'm interviewing him on Friday. So we're going to do this like,
it's like a huge circle. I know.
Yeah.
I have Jason later on the night, and then like
so
an hour and a half, and then it's just like.
So one of my biggest goals is to get as many of my people that have been following me for the last couple of decades to move and see, and if this gels with you guys and you guys are excited, to definitely watch, because you guys are on Wednesdays and Friday nights, sometimes extra. And but tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell me.
Well, I mean, I was an iron worker for about 21 years. I got hurt on a job. It was on July of 2017, and it was just a freak accident. And all of a sudden, like, everything just started like going downhill for me. The attorneys were all screwing up, the companies, everything. So it was just a big mess. But then, here comes, you catch on to this. And it was weird, because I was listening to like a YouTube video and all that, and they started talking about this, and, just like little riddles in the beginning. It was December 17 when I actually started. When I actually like took my first like little note. I'm like, oh, I'll just write that down. And from there, then they started talking about this Q, and I started looking into it. I'm just like, you read these, and it's just like, it's almost like people of like certain intellect, like, I mean, everybody can do it, but there's certain people of like a certain intellect that'll be like, they'll try to figure this out. It's like, there's something up with this. So you start like putting the pieces together, and then you start, meeting more people, and then you start coming together, and you realize that it's not, oh God, hold on a second. I got to shut this sound off. See if I can kill them.
While you're doing that, so patterns. It's like you have this like ridiculously brilliant genius mind to recognize patterns and to see like where one thing starts and the other thing ends, even though they're on multiple resources and different things, and you just like have this amazing ability to put them all together. And that's what I recognize about you.
Well, the thing is that it's not me. I mean, I'll openly admit it is not me. There were a few times that I had these migraines. They're like for 3 days each. And I had no idea what's going on. I've never had migraines ever. And I mean, these even, my father and I went to the hospital, and because he didn't want to go get checked up. So we both went, and I'm like, hey, let's make it a double date, So, I mean, it was the point where you're in tears, and they tell me that mine is like sinusitis or something like that, something with my sinuses. I'm like, what? But that was like a Sunday night. And then Monday morning when I woke up, it was like total clarity. And I'm just like, but then when I looked at things, I'm just like, okay, this is messed up. Because you start seeing things like connect, and I'm just like, what exactly happened here? And I just kept on going with it, and you just go with it, go with it, go with it. And it's almost like you can't stop. I mean, clearly I've had numerous people tell me, you need to take a break, you need to find another hobby. And I simply tell them that if it's bothering you, then, maybe you are the one that needs a hobby or to find something to do. Because for this, I gave everything up for this and would not in the slightest do it again. Because when you realize that it's much bigger than what people can even comprehend, I mean, together comprehend. I mean, they have no idea what's coming. I mean, it's hands down one of the biggest events in all of humankind. And it's getting ready to happen now. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, this is everything you've been taught, everything you've learned, everything you've been indoctrinated. You might as well just take it and throw it right in the trash, because it's all wrong. They did it for a reason. They kept it to dumb us down because they don't have any idea on how powerful we as a human being truly is, and how powerful our brain is, because our brain is a quantum computer.
Yes.
That's why they're always wanting to like do all these brain studies and like with the chemtrails. The chemtrails are exclusively for, because they dropped the aluminum, and that's called a ball, of course, gotta love that. And they dropped that just so that it like it covers the neurotransmitters on our brain, because our brain it's an antenna, our head's an antenna. And what we're able to do is that, like outer space and everything, it's actually within us. It's weird. It's like inside of our minds. And we have to go inside for everything. It's in your mind and your heart, and you have your soul and your spirit, because we don't die. We never have. We're biologically immortal entities. We found the paperwork. That's why they started this whole human genome project.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to create the perfect strand of double helix DNA. The problem is that 97% of our DNA they call junk DNA.
Yeah.
It's junk because they actually took it apart.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have the powers. Because everything you see in like Marvel movies, anything like that, any kind of power like that, we have. We have the power of teleportation, telekinesis, resurrection technology. We have that. I mean, when they talk about the whole Jesus deal, and it's like, well, he resurrected after 3 days, like, because he had the technology. He had it all built in. He had all of his DNA connected. That's what he was just trying to teach. That's all. So
yeah, and it's interesting you're talking about the inside and the out, and I get it. And we've talked a few times on the phone. And I've talked about this with Laura Eisenhower and others. Like they say, 3% of the brain is actually functioning, and the rest is quote, not working. They talk about the DNA, junk DNA, but then they also say that space is only like 3% actually known or, you know, not occupied, because we know it's definitely more than 3% occupied, but I guess known or found or discovered. And so again, that goes back to, okay, inside, outside, on a cellular level, to the brain, all the way out to the galaxies, that, you know, the more that we can work on the inside and everything's an inside job, the more we get on the outside too. But yeah, it's not just chemtrails, but food, you know, the water, all the cleaning supplies, you know, no enzymes in most of the food, all the pesticides, herbicides, vaccinations, you know, you name it, all just to, you know, the sun. Talk about the sun.
Well, it's not a sun. It's a solar simulator. That's all it is. It's a Northrop Grumman. There's a patent for it and everything. Our true sun is a crystal sun. It's a crystal, because when you look at some of the, like, Devil's Tower in Wyoming, Ayers Rock in Australia, you look at these plateaus, like these massive plateaus, and you would think that when you study science and everything like that, they teach you about erosion and everything. It's like, well, why is it that everything else can erode, but then these are like perfectly flat, right? Well, it's because they're tree stumps. I mean, these were crystal trees that were here. I mean, people that think that, people would be blown away if they truly knew the facts about our past, our history, how we were created, everything. Because it's nothing against anybody's religion, nothing at all, because everybody has to believe in something. That's fine. But the problem is that we have a supreme creator, of course, right? But then when you talk about God is one of the most loosely used terms like ever, because the deal is that there are many gods. There are many creator gods. Talk about God. Oh God, yeah, I could hear it there.
That was me. I took it off. Go ahead.
And so I'm just gonna close this one out. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I mean,
I'm here.
There's more than one patent on the sun. There's like tons of patents on the sun, and like 160 or something, or 160,000. I don't remember. I remember 160 something.
I mean, all the patents. And the thing is with the whole solar simulator, if you notice, I mean, it gets brighter, and it's just like too bright. And they say, oh, like the heat comes from the sun, everything. It's like, so for all these people that, you know, they want to just throw the Bible into it, right? It's all biblical, correct? Well, if it's biblical, then why haven't they read the first chapter? Because in the first chapter, it says it is a flat earth. They talk about the four corners of the earth, everything. Now, why did they tell us that it's on a spinning ball and, you know, spinning out into nowhere? Simple. Because now you've just told everybody that, well, everything's been explored, so you don't have to worry about like having any creativity, imagination, and, you know, going to look. Well, it's funny, when Admiral Byrd did back in the 1940s, early 50s, he actually went into inner Earth.
He did go into
past the North Pole.
Yeah.
And then that's when, you know, this ship got sucked in, and it was all in a secret diary. We have that too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much information out there. That's why they say, you know, you have more than you know, dig. It's like, and that's what we did. It's just when it's almost like when they give you a gift and all this, and I mean, I'm beyond appreciative of it. And that's why it's all of us, because it's the whole collective consciousness of man that is in this. It's like a whole project, and we're all tapped into it. Everybody that's in this, no matter if you look at it for 15 minutes a day, or if you look at it for 15 hours a day, you're still tapped into the same collective and we're all in this together. And that's what we have to do. We have to learn that we as a species, we have to understand that, yes, there are other beings out there. Of course, there are galactic family. You have the intergalactic confederation. You have the galactic confederation. But the problem is that we can't even get over not liking somebody of another color or another race, and they still look like us. How are we going to look when there's an 8-foot praying mantis walking up your driveway, and he's here to cure your whole family? But then what do humans do first? They shoot first, they ask second. We never look for the peaceful part first. We always look towards violence first, and then we ask. That's been the problem of humanity since the dawn of time. And that's what we have to fix. We all of us have to fix how we are inside. And we have to understand that, it doesn't matter, what somebody looks like, what color they are, anything like that. We're all the same family, because we are about to embark on there's so many people here interdimensionally watching us, because what it is that it's all layers. Like, we're in a 3rd dimensional layer. There's a 4th dimensional, 5th dimensional, 6th dimensional, but it's all on the same plane. There's like dimensional beings all around us, but we can't see them because of our eyesight and our brain. They have us dumbed down so much and we can't see. Well, that's why they say like a silent war. Everything's going on around us, but we're completely oblivious.
Well, and the scriptures, I use scripture as a quantum physics thing, and I think a lot of it, I know a lot of it is missing, and then there's a lot of it that's completely not represented well. Like, if you look in the Hebrew, Greek, and you actually see the real translations, it's completely different from the way that it was given to us, which is whatever. I'm not, no judgment or whatever if anybody reads the Bible, but there is a scripture called and that says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and it's talking about like these principalities,
but against the power and principalities. Yeah,
but the word wrestle actually means we vibrate not against flesh and blood. There's a vibration. Everything is frequency. Yes. Everything is sound. It talks about, then there was light. Light is also frequency. It's sound. There's something to all of that. And then we have our biofield that is both magnetic and electric. So whatever you're thinking and putting out as this antenna, the pineal, then you're also magnetizing back all of that in. So you keep getting whatever you are. And anyway, I could go for days on that, but you keep talking about like this time that we're in, and we know that this laptop is found and all this stuff with Donald Trump. Tell us what's going on, like where we're at right now. Cause you keep saying, this is the biggest, bestest time. There's so many people so freaked out. I'm a doctor, but I'm working with people with their marriages and drugs and, alcohol is sky up and this COVID stuff. And, elections are however many days away.
Well, number one, the elections, don't even worry about him. Don't even worry. He's going to win all 50 states. He's going to run unopposed. What they did was, it's almost perfection. Now, everybody hates Chris Ray, they had this laptop since December. Why did they tell us? Well, number one, they don't have to tell us a damn thing at all. Just by Q posting all of that and learning that, without that, we wouldn't know a thing at all. So technically, everything is in there. You just have to put the pieces together. It's a huge puzzle. But it's such a complex puzzle that it's almost like if you don't start out on the right foot, and when I say the right foot, everybody brings something into this that they shouldn't, and that's emotion. Because let's face it, is it going to be bad and ugly? Yes. Is it going to get really bad? Yes. But the thing is that it has to happen because we have to learn. Because of the levels that we are going to next. We're going from being a carbon-based body, a human being, into a crystal-based body, which is a celestial being. We are the star people. We have always been. The problem is that ego has always been shown, and it's actually ruined us. Because when you have ego, you're not one. You're just, I mean, everybody has like the elite. This person's better than that person. That's why, you know, when other patriots are like, oh, it's not me, it's we. You know, I every time I try to like burn it into their minds. It's like, look, it's not me, it's always we. Because this isn't me doing this. This is, I have no idea. But I'm not going to question it because, I mean, we're making great headway. We're getting everything out there. So it's like, why question it? You know, because once you start questioning things, then you start establishing doubt. Well, they didn't tell us to doubt. They told us to learn. That's it. I mean, if the truth is there, if that's what it is, if it's something that you've learned, like something you've learned before, but yet you don't believe in, well, guess what? You might want to just keep that in the back of your head because it's coming up. I mean, especially like the whole flat earth. I mean, I love it when people, they make their little cracks and I'm like, they have no idea. No idea. I mean,
to be honest, that is one thing that I am not 100%. I mean, I haven't studied a lot like you have. And I know you have probably every kind of paperwork, I'm sure, but that is one thing that you and I haven't come to a complete agreement on or talked about much. I mean, I've seen you talk about it, but we haven't had that discussion.
Well, the problem is people don't put too much like logical thinking, common sense, or anything like that. I mean, when did you know that you were on a ball earth? I mean, right when you went in your first kindergarten class, you see a ball of a globe, and you see a flag. Every day you see the same things. Every day. It just burns right in your mind. And you just think, okay, we're on a ball and everything like this. It's like, no. Why is it back in the 1890s? I have a map on the other side of here, back in 1892, it's a complete flat earth map. I mean, they've actually put it into the Q drops. They've coded it with Snowden, with his trip in Hong Kong and Ecuador and Venezuela. Because the thing is, if people would have looked into that and they would have looked at flight travels and flight times, why would you, if you look at a ball, okay, Hong Kong to Venezuela, right? You think you just right there, right? Then why is it that you're going from Hong Kong, then you're going to Belgium, then you're going to Madrid, then you're going to Venezuela? I mean, that would be completely out of your, I mean, why? That is utterly, I mean, that's utterly just.
I don't know. Even to go to California, I have to go to Atlanta first every flight because of Delta.
Well, think about this. If it's a spinning ball that spins at 1,040 miles an hour and the typical commercial jet travels at 500 miles an hour, how can you fly from the West Coast to the East Coast and then from the East Coast to the West Coast? You can't. You could fly from the East Coast to the West Coast. It'll take you like an hour 32. Because the thing is, when you take off, you're not on the spinning ball anymore. The ball is spinning. You are not. You are on an airplane suspended above it. So you are traveling this way and the ball is traveling this way. So this guy, this pilot, this utter genius has to land on a spinning ball perfectly every time like that. But then when you travel from Los Angeles to New York, you go ahead and take off. That's all fine and dandy. You're traveling at 500 miles an hour. What's the ball underneath you traveling at? 1,040 miles an hour. It's going twice as fast as you're traveling. It's going to catch you before you catch it.
Well, I'm going to look more into all of this for sure. Let's get back to the election and Trump situation because we got a lot of.
He won.
So, he won. But with the laptop and stuff, I mean, I had someone come on here and was talking about, well, but you know, it's Russia, it's China that they like.
Here, I'm going to explain something to you about the laptop. Right here are Hunter Biden's emails, right? All color coded, did them last night and today, right? When people realize when they said that underage family member, on the Q drop and all that. Now, number one, Hunter Biden always had Secret Service traveling with him. Why? When has Secret Service ever traveled with the son of the vice president? They don't. It's not like, like where he's going. Like he's going to Norway, Paris, China, here, there. And what it is that they were trying to get this, they were like making forged visas and everything. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. But it's right here. It says on Friday, July 24th, 2015, 11:24 a.m. Hi, Vadim. Unfortunately, Katie is no longer with our firm, so I'm going forward to new contact for all things Hunter related. Attached are the copies of the passports for Roberta Biden, and it has Maisie in parentheses, and Robert Hunter Biden, Hunter's nephew. And what they were doing was they were taking them on this to Norway. And it was like some kind of fishing trip. But the problem is that they said it was like a 2-day fishing trip. And they said that you had to have like these special suits on, but they didn't have anything for kids. It's like, what are these guys doing? I mean, seriously. And then not to mention the word concrete, it's all in here, like concrete information, everything. It is all in here. There is so much here that, I mean, honestly, it's, and they were doing that through Rosemont Seneca Partners, in which case, I mean, I have this whole map drawn out about him, Devin Archer, Chris Hines, because Chris Hines was related to John Kerry. They're all involved. In fact, right here. What's that?
Stepson, isn't he stepson?
Yes. Yeah, because he married Teresa Hines, which is the whole ketchup magnate. And it says right here that they were going to this Bardufoss, which is in Norway. And it says, since it's only going to be a fishing trip and not a business one, we will not be visiting any oil or gas fields / plants. As soon as I saw fishing, that bothered me instantly, because of something that was found earlier on that we put together about how they say that, they own the seas and everything, how Ghislaine and all them, they were like, oh, they own all the seas and everything. Well, what they were doing was they say that they were showing all these women all that, how to catch fish and fillet, like a fish like a market that they can that they could fish, they could fillet the fish and send it off as like a commodity, right? The problem is I know this because my mom works for a fish market. All the fish was all laid out, right? There's one problem. With fish, you have to put it immediately on ice or else it goes bad. So why would you have all this fish just laying out, out in the open and everything like that? And you're all, yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm like, where are you getting the ice from? Because you have to keep this all packed in ice to be fresh. And what it was they were using the women, and then they had men. They were creating the babies. They were doing a complete baby slave trade and adrenochrome harvesting. And I mean, it's bad. It's bad. But
well, someone today was just going off about how Pizzagate isn't real and how somebody's in jail for 4 years for going and killing or shooting up everything, and that it isn't even real. There's a lot of proof that is real.
Well, I mean, the thing is like with the person that that everybody follows, that like uses the word Pizzagate a lot, and yeah, I guess she's well, I wouldn't say well known, but I mean, everybody seems to know her. She's a complete hack too. But the information is correct. But the problem is that if you go around and just blame Hillary, Podesta, Pizzagate the whole time, and you're still doing it to the day, but then we start And now, I mean, I'm not, I'm not even lying when I say we have over 150,000 pages of documents, handwritten, printed, everything here now, indexed and catalogs, everything. So it's much easier to find. So we can all put it together. And that's another thing. It's like, that's not me. I am not that person, but it just came to me and just, and it all started, actually it all started when getting kicked out of 2 groups back on April 6th in 2018, and for time travel. We put the proof out there and everything like that, what we found, everything, and kicked out of a public group, which was QAnon Follow the White Rabbit. And the thing is that over an hour, we had like over 350 comments. Well, then the powers that be at the top decided to, throw the post off, delete it, ban me, everything like this. Because all those groups are it's all controlled opposition. They just want to see what you're saying, and then they'll just start censoring you. It's like, why aren't these people that start these groups, why aren't they the ones putting forth the information? They're not. They're waiting for everybody else to do it. But then if they see something that they don't like, then they censor them. So it's like, these groups, they're all, it's backwards. That's why for me, I mean, I just went on my regular Facebook and just started going off there, because when we did start a group on April 6th, and it was like, we had like 400 people at first, and now we're down to like 90, 85. And I mean, I consider that like my core family. I mean, because we went through all of this. I mean, all of this like together, and it's almost like they taught me how to introduce this to others. And in a matter of 2 months, we had it licked. And it's just like, it went from like April 6th to, it was June 19th was when I first made my first, on 2018 is when I made my first post on regular Facebook. But
So
honestly, I don't know how they caught on, but it was good.
And we know that you got booted off of Twitter how many times now? And I know I'm kicked out of all the groups now. Facebook is the one who shut me down. I'm not allowed to post anything in a group. I've been banned on my regular page for 30 days one time, and another time, and then I couldn't do lives for a period of time. I mean, anytime I post anything about anything having to do with the scary virus or what's gone with my patients or anything about the elections or, anyway, but so he's actually not able to tweet right now, right?
Yeah, I just now got a 12-hour ban. Just a word out there that Hillary Clinton Twitter feed, yeah, don't reply to it. Don't. It's a complete trap. It's a complete trap. I mean, it wasn't even like a minute, and then boom, 12-hour ban. I'm like, for what? They said hate speech. I'm like, I mean, I really didn't say anything hateful because I even took a picture of what I said. I mean,
you kind of did, but that's okay.
No, but how is that hateful?
So talk about time travel, because my background with Montauk and the chair, and then there's also like Looking Glass, and so if there's all these, so we're in a time war. It's a timeline war, an informational war, as some people would say, because if we use our collective creative power individually and then as a collective, then we can actually keep shifting the outcome like moment to moment to moment. So go into, you mentioned time travel. What documents do you have on that? Because people are always like, prove it. We know Tesla's been doing, what you say, I don't know.
Tesla's still alive.
Tesla's still alive.
They're all down in Venezuela.
Interesting.
Him, Marconi. I mean, there's 98 scientists down there. There's actually more. People are going to freak when they find out who is actually still in this. I mean, and we're talking L. Ron Hubbard as well.
Interesting.
Because when people start dogging Scientology and start like making fun of it and everything, the problem is that when it first started out, it was actually good. because people don't know his background. They never bothered to look in these people's backgrounds. When you start looking at these backgrounds and you start realizing it's like, well, wait a second. Well, they said that he's like a slouch in the Navy and all that. It's like, he's such a slouch that he was working on a special project for the US Navy called MK Ultra.
Yes, and the Philadelphia Project, yeah, and even the Montauk Project. He was trying to help with all the programming.
But the problem is that he didn't want he thought the programming and everything of the mind, he didn't like that because he saw what they were doing. They were doing it for negative. So when he realized that he can actually revert in his mind all of his previous lives, I mean, you could go all the way back. You can remember every conversation you ever had, word for word, in your mind, in every life that you lived. That's how powerful it is. So what he did was they wanted him to be a psychiatrist, key psychiatrist. That's why they say key psychiatrist and all that, key therapist. He decided to leave the Navy. And that's when he started the whole Scientology, and he wrote Dianetics and everything. Because what Dianetics is that's not the full name. It's Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health.
Yeah, it's the science of mental health.
But MSM always has dots under it. Modern Science Mental, and then post 1,000 as the health. I mean, it's all right there. And then not to mention, he had a son, right? And his son was actually, his son was just as good as him, if not better, at doing this, at helping others and everything. Well, his son wanted to get out of it, right? So what happened was the CIA and everything, because everything's the CIA, because the CIA is based out of Switzerland and France. It's 19,500 feet underwater in Lake Geneva.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all Jesuit run. It's just plain out evil. It's CERN and CIA are both connected.
Yeah.
So what they did was they kidnapped his son, and they took him to Vegas and everything, and they set a trap. They wanted to trap L. Ron Hubbard and have him come get his son. Well, L. Ron Hubbard didn't fall for the trap, and they ended up killing his son. So
and what day was that?
Then they found his body on October 28th, 1976, and his name happened to be Quentin.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the first day of the Q drops? It was October 28th, 2017. What else happened on October 28th, 1943? The Philadelphia experiment. That's when they made the whole destroyer disappear, and then they made it reappear. When it reappeared again, all those guys were fused into the sides of the walls and everything.
Stuck in there,
the problem is that two scientists were watching from a hotel, from the New Yorker hotel, which is Tesla's hotel.
Oh.
Because when you look at the hotel, it looks like a fuse. It's actually built. I mean, it's built perfectly like a fuse, right?
Okay.
And the thing is that like underneath, like there's like, I think it's 70 feet down below under the New Yorker. I mean, Tesla has all this stuff. I mean, teleportation, everything. That's how they were teleporting to Venezuela and everything. Well, thing is that him and Einstein were watching it from, across the harbor, because it happened across the harbor and everything. Because that's where they built the ship, was across the harbor from the New York hotel. So when it was time for this all to happen, they knew that it just wasn't right, that there was something that was going to happen. So what they did was that they knew that when it disappeared, the USS Aldrich, when it disappeared and then it reappeared and then it disappeared again, some of the guys just disappeared. They're gone. I mean, they're in another dimension. Nobody can find them. And there's guys that came back and they're just like, completely I mean, it's just, totally, it's not anything that anybody should have ever seen. But there was one person on a U-boat that actually witnessed this. And he ended up becoming a president of the United States. His name was John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
Wow.
The thing is, JFK knew a lot about this. He knew about the Majestic 12. He knew all about the ET because Eisenhower let him know. Because of the whole Eisenhower Valiant Thor meeting. when he gave him the Orion cube, that he can look in the future, because they knew that we were going to destroy ourselves due to the misuse of atomic energy. Because of the whole Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and everything. It's like, look, you guys can't do this. No.
Yeah, and I'm going to interject, because if you guys don't know, there's so much documentation of outside forces off planet help that have shut down so many nuclear plants all over Montana, Minot, Nebraska, New Mexico, even overseas. I mean, in the thousands over the years, they have been just shut off. And they try to make it like, oh, well, this is bad because the power they have over us. And I'm not saying that off-planet people, the things that are off-planet aren't necessarily all good either. But they don't want us to blow anything up, and because that will affect everybody. And so anyway, keep going what you're saying.
Well, everybody here now, I mean, they're all benevolent that are helping, right? I mean, there's ones that are helping and ones that are watching. Now, the ones that are watching, there's a lot of them up there. I mean, they're within the firmament, they all the ships, everything, and there's about 2 million motherships at least over us. Not just over us, over the whole world. Because, I mean, number one, they're cheering us on because they know that we're defeating evil. Because the problem is we don't know where we are. We think we're on planet Earth, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. You are in a realm. You are in the abyss. You are in hell. This is hell. And what people don't understand, it's like when people are like, oh, it's like hell on earth. It's like, you couldn't have said it better if you tried. I mean, because if you think about it, they have a way to take your mind off of certain things. They use the whole, like the Romans are involved, the breads and circuses, everything like this, the entertainment industry, all this. And it was all because of these beings that showed up here, because their whole system was failing, and they needed another, and these were evil humanoids. I mean, they look human, but they're flat out evil. And they had to make a deal with a group here in order to not become like a slave race. And they made the deal with the Hebrews. And the problem with that is that the Hebrews are the same ones that actually they didn't write the Bible. They transcribed the Bible from numerous documents before. Because this all goes back to the whole Babylonian epic of creation, Enuma Elish. There's your 5.5 EE. And when you talk about like Enki and Lil, and all this, it's all true. It's like the water separating the waters. They had the fresh water combined with the salt water. That's how everything began. And then the Anunnaki came here to harvest the gold because they needed gold for their atmosphere on the Biru. And they had a slave group with them called the Ajiji. They call them like the astronauts. And the problem with that is that they thought that they outnumbered the Anunnaki, so they thought they were just going to overtake them. Well, they utterly destroyed all of them. Well, then they were like, well, we need workers. So that's when they started creating us. I mean, we're a genetic procedure. That's all we are. There's no, I mean, I hate to break it to people, but thinking that we're just, I mean, we are special. I mean, we really are, but we're not what people think. I mean, we are extraterrestrial as well. I mean, we were created from our meat suits. These are meat suits. And the thing is, we were created from them, but the supreme creator is the one that gave us our ether, our soul, and our spirit. That is who we consider God. Because technically, I mean, it's all about your soul, your spirit, your energy. That's what makes us us. Without that, we're a stiff. That's it. And what they did is they decided to make this sick and twisted game about it. And knowing that we don't die, they decided to tamper with it all and have us die, come back, and just go in. And that's how they had us, the whole reproduction. because when they introduced reproduction to us, because it took so long to create us that they needed a workforce quicker, then that's when, Enki was like, well, why don't we just have them reproduce like us, and then we could get a workforce faster. Well, his brother-in-law was like all mad about it, but there's nothing you could do about it. So that's why we're half Anunnaki and half Homo erectus, which is the caveman. So that makes us Homo sapiens. But and that's the thing. It's just like, well, and people are just like, there's no way. But when you look at the drops and you see NK and it has dots under its multiple meaning, it's like, that's Enki. ENKI. That's what it is. I mean, we truly are battling our meat suit creators in order to become star people, to become celestial beings, because that's what we truly are. We weren't created to just go to work, pay taxes, and all this other stuff. We were created to be creators.
Yep.
We were created to actually go through all of the dimensions and densities in order to become a creator God in our own right.
Well, that's one thing that they don't have, is because they've been so AI'd and all the things that have happened that they've messed up on. They, we have the creative power, we have the heart, we have the emotions. And you talked about emotions earlier, but actually emotions can be in the positive, because it's what magnifies everything back in the biofield for us to even create in the first place. And they can't do it.
Exactly. And that's why, like, right now, it's all the reptilians are jumping from body to body to body. And that's why they have everybody in power. They're all lizards. I mean, that's why they're taking them all out and
cold-hearted, no feeling,
none.
And think about, remember that movie? Did you ever watch that movie with Denzel where like something was like jumping from one person to another? Isn't there a movie about that? Interesting. All these movies, like you mentioned, we could do all this, but they always got it. The law is they have to put it out there first.
Yeah, they have, for their karmic law, they have to tell us the truth. And what they do is they tell their truth through movies. But then what do they tell us? Don't believe everything you see on TV. Don't believe everything you see in the movies. It's like, maybe you should have. Because if you realize this, remember back in the 80s when they had that V, the final battle with the reptilians that came here, that they were human and they were actually lizard people?
I didn't see that.
It was like it was a big miniseries. It had like Mark Singer and everything like that. When you actually look that up and you look at all the wording and how the storyline goes, it's like, it's exactly what we're doing now. It's exactly what we're doing now. I mean, we were fighting that exact fight right now to defeat them. I mean, it's so utterly mind-blowing that, and that's why they say, the whole truth cannot be revealed because it's so mind-blowing. I mean, how are people going to feel when they find out that the Vatican is actually, it's evil? I mean, it's always been satanic.
What about the arrests and all that? Talking about
everything's already happened.
So tell us about that. Explain.
Okay. The thing is that, remember they talk about the bridge 1, bridge 2, everything like that. Well, what the bridge is it's the basic registry of identified global entities. They make clones and drones. That's the catch and release. They catch the real one and they drop the other one. Because after 9/11, the military intelligence got access to all the black ops and all the different agencies that they were doing. So when they found out about all this, they're like, well, then hell, we're going to go ahead and do this too. That's why they say we're watching a movie. And people are all screaming out, oh, arrest, they need to see arrest. It's like, they have no idea. I mean, even Comey, Mueller, and Rosenstein, they're helping us.
What about Barr?
Barr's helping us as well.
Is he?
Yes. Barr, Mueller, they were all in on it from the get-go as well. This plan goes all the way back to right after Vietnam.
So he's a white hat.
Yes. So is his brother, because nobody knows who his brother is. And that's where the whole JFK Jr. comes in.
Okay, tell me.
His brother was the one that investigated the plane crash of JFK Jr. His name is
No.
Michael Barr. When you look at two of them, they look just the same. Yes, everything's connected. Everybody has to start looking at this. I mean, it's all right there. He works for USC. He's like an aeronautical buff for USC. His name's Michael Barr for
Wait, I
USC.
think I saw a documentary on that actually. Do you know if he did a documentary on that where he explained like all the things having to do with the seat being missing and that there was supposed to be a person with him and there wasn't, and you know, the time charts and the timing and where he, did you see that?
I didn't see that because I mean, I didn't really think about the whole, because I only dug into a bit of the JFK Jr. stuff, like decoded all like the numbers and everything. And I mean, he's definitely here. I mean, but he's not the only one. I mean, you've got Senior, JFK Senior's here. You got Junior, you got Patrick. I mean, he mentions Arabella, and I mean, I know Arabella was a miscarriage, but I mean, she could be here as well because that was the first daughter. Then it went Carolyn, John, and then Patrick. But Patrick was the last one, and it was, he only lived this for 3 days and everything. And it was like August 6th through 9th. But the thing is that when you like read into this, like the whole neonatal, the new neonatal industry of young hospitals, that's when they started looking more into ventilators.
Mm-hmm.
So now we see where ventilators comes into play with this.
Yes.
Everything's in us because this whole COVID thing. I mean, I can't say it's bullshit, but it's like it was all fabricated back in 2009. The vaccines are all bioweapons, and that's why they tell you get your flu shot, because it's all in the vaccines. It's all in the flu shots. Everything's in it. If you notice,
and then they turn it on with the 5G, they can activate it.
They can activate it, and then people start getting sick because all these people, like in New York and everything, like in the nursing homes, everybody in the hospitals that were getting murdered. Let's just say it. Cuomo and all them, because every time someone dies in a hospital, the hospital receives $1 million for a birth certificate. It's all under the C'est La Vie Trust under 1666, under the Pope and everything like that. We're traded. We're commodity.
Wow.
And that's why the whole Sovereign Order of Malta, they're in on it. That's big pharma. I mean, this goes all the way back to the Knights Templar for banking. Then you have the Knights of the Hospitallers that were with them. There's your hospital. There's your big pharma. They turn the Sovereign Order of Malta. That's why they all have the Maltese crosses on. And I mean, it's just, it just explodes all over the place. I mean, just everywhere.
Well, I know that there are cloning places and cloning stations. That I don't, I mean, I've definitely looked a lot into it. I haven't, as far as people being alive, God, I wish and I hope, and if you're right, I'm going to have the biggest party if JFK shows up. And I've been on tons of interviews where, Robert Steele and Carrie Cassidy and Laura and all them, like, we're all like, okay, if this is real, I really do hope so. And maybe he'll ta-da and like show up, and it'll be great. I know there was talk about him coming out in October, and then that didn't work. And
well, the thing is that everybody's looking at Junior. I mean, wouldn't a bigger reveal be Senior?
Of course. If there is a reveal, I mean,
well, of course there's going to be a reveal, because you can't tell them. You got to show them. It's exactly what they're going to do.
Because I would be very happy if there was, and even Patrick too. I've watched and read different things about when the baby passed, that Senior was, had a letter to someone.
George Skakel. To the woman that her child was badly burned and everything.
Yeah.
And he wrote her a letter and everything.
And then the letter was basically like, "Hey, we'll take care of him, and thanks so much." Yeah. Blah blah blah. And I started to go like, did they take the baby? And I started thinking about the whole Moses deal, like in the Bible, how they like gave the baby to another person to take care of. I mean, it would be smart It would
He
be
could
really smart. It would be the smartest thing ever. Obviously, Moses came out on the other end and ended up ruling the world. I mean, if we could get a JFK or a Patrick out of it and they came up and like took over or vice president or became president, like, I mean, that would be the best story. And maybe it'll be real. But who knows? Also, in the meantime, we're still here and we're waiting and watching.
But the thing is, it's like, you know, when people just wait, it's like, you know, it's like learn, you know, you can listen to podcasts and all that. It's like, I mean, some of the stuff that we put out there, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot to take in. And I know it's going to question, it's just going to leave doubt in everybody's mind. But it's like, you know, we're just here to just pretty much tell you what we find. And it's not like we see something and then we instantly, you know, put it out there. It's like, it has to have other connections.
Yeah.
If it doesn't connect anywhere else, then it's just junk. But then now with this, it's just, I mean, it's clearly gotten out of control, but not out of control bad, out of control good, for when everything is revealed and like it all happens.
So is Biden even going to go to the debate Thursday night? Is he going to step down? Is
No.
what's her name coming in?
I-
Today I found a document that 65 days ago. I don't know if you got that. I sent it to you.
Hillary Harris.
That Hillary Harris 2020.com registry was purchased 65 days ago, and also there was a Warren Harris 2020. There's several of these .coms that were purchased over the last year or so, and you guys can Google all this for yourself, because someone sent it to me and I was like, let me see, because I'm like you, I'm like, I like data, I need to see, I need connections. So I look it up for myself, bam, it was in like 3 or 4 different places, and I was like, okay, so tell me what you think about that.
Okay, here's in my educated opinion about everything that I've seen with emails, everything. Biden doesn't stand a chance. He's done. I mean, he already put a lid on everything till Thursday. He's done. Not to mention, that's not really Biden. The real Biden, you know, Trump's already told us he's shot. He's shot. It's like,
I heard that a few times now.
Yeah, it's
literally
like,
coming out of his mouth. He's shot.
And that's the thing. When he says it, you think mentally shot, right? Why doesn't anybody take him literally, you know, figuratively and literally, and just like, yeah, he's shot. It's like, yeah, they executed him. It's like right now, because the thing about it is that with these clones and drones, there's one thing that they always have as an attached earlobe. They don't make a detached earlobe, right? So if you look at Biden's old pictures and he has a detached earlobe, look at the one now. It's attached. I mean, you just can't grow an attached earlobe, you know?
I'll have to look at that for sure.
So this one, that's why this one's just, I mean, this one's under the bridge, you know, it's another entity, you know? So that's why he has so many mess ups and everything like that, because they're just playing with them. You know, the military intelligence is just like having fun with this, because they're all under the hive mind. They have complete control over all of them.
Well, yeah. What about Nancy Pelosi?
She's been gone for a while. Her and Chuck both.
Interesting. Well, I heard, I think it was yesterday or today, that one of the rallies, Trump actually said something about it's in the blood. Did you hear that part? Did you see? I'll have to send you that video. There's a little clip when he goes on and talks about the blood, and then he goes into laptops and the pictures that are found with the young girls and what have you. There's literally people who don't believe it. They just don't.
And the thing is, and it's sad, because I'd much rather them believe it now than them have to see it later, because they are going to have to show some of this.
You think they're going to show it?
They're going to show some, but nothing to the point where it's any kind of pornographic or anything that's going to like completely 100% scar somebody. But the thing is that you need to make sure these people know, these doubters know that this actually happened. They've been doing this. I mean, when you look at all the children that have been missing, Since Clinton got in office, when Clinton was in office from 92 to 2000, there were over 900,000 children missing a year. Nobody batted an eye. Nobody. It's like, where are they going?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Trump's been the only person that in my adult life of knowing anything about politics, who's actually stood up for the kids and had an executive order about it. And the arrests are like way higher than anyone else. And pro-life, all these things. And then people don't believe. And then there's this other thing with the COVID numbers too. As a scientist, I can tell you the things that are going on with that. And since January have been talking about this, and people just, there's people who believe, and then there's people who just straight up want a mask and do their thing. And there's still science. Science is still science. And now that all the scientists and doctors started coming out even more by the droves, and committees and commissions, and of course that was all censored. Now the CDC has even come out and said, oh yeah, we messed up. It's like 9,000 instead of 200,000. But when you watch TV and you watch anything with the news, they're still saying the 200,000. I mean, even Trump will say the 200,000 number instead of the 9,000 number. And what bothers me is like, okay, now it's been not a pandemic, but less than the flu. And flu numbers are all down, by the way. There's like nobody dies of anything unless it's, and they still don't believe. So what, you're saying that they are going to put this stuff on and to get them to believe, but don't you think there's going to be a percentage of people that still just won't believe no matter what you say?
The problem is that we've gone over this numerous times on, I don't know how many, just Twitter, Facebook, podcasts. The documents that we have, I mean, they're virtually damning with all this. I mean, they planned this all the way back in 2009. All of this. I mean, it all goes back to, Fauci, and you have, when they say DJT, they don't mean Donald John Trump. They mean Dr. Jeffrey Taubenberger. He's the one that brought back the Spanish flu virus, resurrected it from 1918, brought it back, and now they're starting to use that like with the H1N1 and the COVIDs and the other ones and the plagues. And the thing is, it's like, why did you have to do, why? And that's the National Institutes of Health. You've got the CDC. And I mean, this was all planned, under Bush and Obama, because that's
there's
why
documents. You can see it, you can look it up. It's all public record for anyone to see.
That's why I went to a pandemic plan, stage 6 right away, because Bush signed into law that whenever a pandemic stage 6 was declared in the United States, the US military must stand down to the UN and the World Health Organization, and they take over our country.
Wow.
That's why they saw the UN stuff coming through here from California, because California isn't technically a state. It's a republic. It even says it on their flag, but they're the Roman/Chinese republic. They're completely sold out, completely compromised. And I'm talking about just the families. Not everybody in California, they don't know. That's why you have Newsom out there saying, oh, Thanksgiving, you can only have like 3 families and this and that. It's like, you haven't had anything happen in 6 months. I mean, seriously, nobody said anything in 2018 when 80,000 people died of the flu. Nobody's running around masks. The problem is that these people out here, they're so just completely idiotic and just brain dead. What they need to do is take that TV, throw it out the window right away, because all that TV is, it's a CIA spy tool. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, Mockingbird programming.
Well, yeah, Mockingbird programming, but you also have, what was it? Project Weeping Angel.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
And what it is that when you turn off the TV, it's still able to record audio and video of anything. Yes.
No.
Yes, because your camera, they have the smart TVs because they have the camera in the front. They still record.
Oh my God. What?
That's what people, why do you think they sell them for $250 on Black Friday? Everybody's buying them. You're putting CIA operatives right in your own home and you don't even realize it.
Well, I knew about the Alexa and the Siri, you know, all of that.
When it got to that, people are just, I mean, when people were buying that, it's like, oh no, it's okay. It's like, are you serious? I mean, you almost wanted to, you know, these people, they're so complacent because they would much rather give up their security and their liberties, their liberties for security, but they don't realize that their liberties would be intact if the people in control weren't the ones doing all the bad shit, like 9/11, everything. You've got the Mossad, you have Israel, you have Great Britain, you have us, you've got Dick Cheney, you have George H.W. Bush, you've got Warren Buffett, you've got Bill Gates, you have even Obama's involved because he was working with Sidley Austin, the law firm in New York. They're all involved. Everybody's involved. There were no planes. The planes actually, there's a Honeywell patent, and it's like an automatic autopilot, like a button. Where if you hit autopilot, you can't go back to manual. The people on the ground have control. So they took those planes and they landed them somewhere, took the people. Because what happened at the Twin Towers, those were direct energy weapons and mini nukes that were dropped down the elevator shafts because they were putting new elevators in.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on how they put the explosives out.
The nanothermite on the outside, and those were the good old JEWS that have been infiltrating our whole society. The Ashkenazis. The last four letters is NAZI. I mean, can't see how anybody can't pick that up. I think. And then you have the Khazarians that are in control of Hollywood and everything, Hollywood and NASA and everything. I mean, they're just bad.
Did you know that NASA actually means deceive or to deceive?
Yep. It is. I mean, people just, they don't even understand. There has not been one person that has ever launched in a space shuttle from Earth. I mean, all the ones from the Challenger, they're still alive. Not all of them, but they're like Resnick. She's a teacher at Syracuse. I mean, Krista McAuliffe, she's still alive. All of them. And they use their same names. People don't even question. It's like, okay, they send up an inflatable. That's what the whole Bermuda Triangle is. They shoot it right over to the Bermuda Triangle. They have a ship over there. They get the inflatable, they wrap it back in, and done.
Wow.
That's the whole yellow brick road. The astronauts go up the stairs and everything like that, but then there's a way that they have to crawl down. They crawl through, and then when they go ahead and launch it and everything, go ahead.
Well, I don't, again, that's another area that I haven't studied a whole lot, but I do know that Buzz, what's his name? Not Lightyear.
Aldrin, he's a joke. That's all Masons. It's all Masonic.
Videos where he's actually admitting that they never went to the moon, even to like little kids. And I was just like, and this is recently, and I was just like, wow, that's interesting. But
well, they did go to the moon.
The moon is a satellite. If you talk to like William Tompkins and all of these guys, that the whole LOC is up there, the whole backside of the moon. There's huge crystal palaces and everything like that. Like these, I mean, there were bases everywhere. But the problem is that they did have somebody go to the moon. Who went to the moon? Yeah, because they saw the reptilian.
Yeah, and that's the thing when they landed,
and then they're like, okay, we're never going back again.
Yep.
And they were sworn to their death to not talk about it. And then I think they were offed. Were they offed? I mean, they all just died. Some of them, some of them old age, but
it was a reptilian, like a reptilian, like an outpost, like a observation post. That's why they have like the whole, blood moon and all that. That's when they have all their old sacrifices and everything. Notice how we don't have blood moons anymore. We have like corn moons and blue moons and this other. It's like you never see blood moons. That's all this. It's all the whole satanic, archon, reptilian, alpha draconian.
Well, I know you got to pop off because you got Jason here in a minute.
Oh yeah, yep.
But we do have a blue moon coming up on October 30th.
31st.
So what do you think about that?
Is it going to be a moon? Or is it going to be something to pick up all these DBs in, because the thing is, it's a prison planet. It's already been here once. It's already filled up once. They already took it out. They're coming back again. Because some of these people, if you kill them, what good does it do? Some of these people need an attorney on a prison planet. That's why I have Hillary in Greenland in a cryogenic state, heavily guarded. That's why Trump's always like, we love ICE. We love ICE. So yeah, because Hillary's frozen in Greenland. It's awesome.
Yeah, and how he tried to buy Greenland. Why do you think he tried to buy?
And the thing is, who were the first ones to complain? It was Denmark, Greenland of Denmark. There's your God. When Israel says they're God's people, it's Greenland of Denmark. That's the Black Pope. That's the whole Jesuits, the Catholic assassins. It's all evil.
Interesting.
Because the thing is, the Star of David, that's not the Star of David. That's the Star of Moloch.
Yeah, you said that this morning, and I was just like, okay, but what? I'm gonna have to have you back because I know you got to go, and I'm actually going to watch you with Jason tonight, and everyone else should too. And tomorrow, Jason's interviewing me on his show. It'll be on his channel and his Facebook page. Dr. Jason Dean. If anyone wants to watch that, it'll be 2:00 Eastern, which is 1:00 Central. And then Friday I'll be interviewing him. But you guys too, if you want more understanding on like the biofield consciousness, how we create, how the brain and the heart works together, the science of miracles, it's on Amazon and it's on my Swiftfire. But how can everybody connect with you? Give all your stuff so we can send everybody to you.
Well, I was on Twitter. I'm not on there for a while, but I mean, because I know on Jason Dean, I have to give out my my second Twitter handle, but I know I'm going to make up a couple more because
yeah,
and then that's it. And then my Facebook, it's already jam packed, and then there's so many followers. But
yeah, but you can follow, even if you can't friend, they can follow you, and you can hit the notification button. So anytime that he posts anything, you're going to get that in your feed. You're going to be able to watch what he's doing. If he goes live with Jason or me or anybody in the world, you guys can have access to that. But definitely go follow him on. I'll send all the links out and post it in here so people can find you very fast with a click.
Sounds good.
Put that in here, and we'll see you in 15 minutes on Jason's page. Dr.
You got it.
All right. Thank you. Hope we can have you back again soon. And
sounds good. Definitely.
For all you guys who are listening, just have an open mind, take what you choose, spit out the bones. This has been an ongoing research thing. I'm still learning and educating and reading, and not everything that he says am I there, but I am like listening and I'm open. And I'm, for me, it's about data and looking at stuff. So I do encourage you more than anything to just research and to turn off the TV and turn off all the main things that you may have listened to in the past, and actually be open and courageous enough to look at other things for a second and just see if there's any validity to it. Because I think most of the time people are just so scared to be wrong or to do something that's different because it feels uncomfortable that they won't ever stretch out there. And you must stretch before you run. And we're about to run. There are lots of things going on in the world, but this is an awesome opportunity to really, this for me, I'm about 4 or 5 years in, anyway, that's a long thing. But so I was super depressed when I started realizing all of the lies and the programming and the different things that have been going on. And it doesn't get a whole lot better. Just when you think you've heard the worst thing. I mean, this week I had so many things that I found that I was like literally crying and depressed over some of this stuff.
But the thing is that when you do that, it's giving off an energy that they feed off of.
No, it's the
and that's how they get you.
They want the loot.
That's how they get you. That's how you have to just stay positive, keep a positive vibration, laugh a lot, and just understand that everything is done. It's all in control. I mean, they have got this all on lock. You wouldn't even believe who is even here helping.
Yes. So
especially President Trump.
Yeah. So just get into nature, get grounded, pray, meditate, eat good food, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, get your supplements, take care of yourself, self-care, and do positive things for people. And, there is an integration period for things when they're just like, oh, this broke all the boxes, but it's okay. Just to remind yourself that you're okay. Listen to what he's saying and what others are saying as far as like what jives with you, and just keep going for it. That's all I got to say. And thank you, Jason.
You're very welcome.
Hope to have
Thank you.
you back. We'll talk soon.
You
Have
bet.
a good night.
All right,
Okay.
you too. All right, bye.
Bye.